Welcome back to ShopDog-Garage. It's another 55 Chevy video. So, if you recall, we'd been worried about what we were going to do here. I know it's very difficult to see, but this brace right here, you know, once everything's closed, it doesn't hit the battery, but it wouldn't take much bending to make it. So, what we've got here, this is a Group 24 battery. This is actually the one out of the rocket ship. The one in this car is also a Group 24. It's just a 24R, so these are swapped. So, here is the height of a standard Group 24. After much looking around and looking at things, the Group 34 is this, but, you know, the top of here is here. And other than that, pretty similar. But then it turned out, after looking at a bunch of things, you know, the 2000s Fords, a lot of them used a battery called the 40R, which is great because R is what I want, because that puts our positive, you know, this actually came from right here, puts our positive to the inside, which means it's nowhere close to this hinge. Nothing could lay between that positive and that hinge. So ground will be to the outside of the car, which is one of the things that makes me feel a little safer. The other nice thing is, you'll notice, and that's why they're sitting here, that the ends we want, they fit in there almost like they were meant to. So here you get a very nice compact battery. Now, this battery is 10 inches wide for the bulk of the battery. Don't worry about handle areas. This is 10.5 wide. I'm not expecting that to be a big problem. The other thing to note, here, let's line. So if I line that up here and line that up here, you'll notice that the Group 40 is ever so slightly deeper. I'm also not expecting a problem with that. So let's go ahead and get that installed. Well, the astute amongst you will notice that I'm kind of an idiot sometimes. I was so worried about the height of the battery that I just saw the 10 in the width and didn't think about it. But believe it or not, that tiny bit extra is too much extra. Let me get it where you guys can see. So, see, that is 10 and what, 1, 2, 3/8. And the Group 24 is exactly 10. And you can see there's a little bit of play in the bottom here, but that battery will not fit. And looking at how we built the tray, that's not a reasonable expectation. So looks like we are probably going to be taking the Group 40 back and getting the 34. The problem is, I don't think anyone's going to have a 34R, and I will look at like a 58 and a 59, but I'm not sure they're going to fit. But what we've done as our tester is I put a Group 24 in, and from the bench, when it's sitting in there, you can see right there that we got 10 3/4 to the top of this. I happen to know that a Group 34 is 1 inch shorter than this battery. The problem I have been finding is, even though they're BCI numbers, some of them seem to be to the top of the lead, and some of them seem to be to the top of the housing, and I'm not sure. So I'd like to look at a 34, you know, set it in here, set that on it, take a measurement. What I'm really looking for is for that to be around 9 inches or lower. I really want a nice space so that if anything happens, something falls on the hood, anything like that, we're not arc welding the battery. I'm really nervous about that. So guess that's all we're going to do on that tonight, because of course Napa closes in like 5 minutes. So there's that, but bummer. I really liked this solution. It's just wide, and I don't really want to compromise the strength of that tray. Okay, ShopDog's had his pretzel, and we have had to change plans because the battery thing has set us back quite a bit today. What I think I'm going to do is some circuit testing. So for now, these are the fans. We don't need to test that right now. This one here is the EFI system. I don't need to power that right now. This is the ignition system. I don't need to power that right now. So what we've done is just take this length and skin the ends. I'm going to throw the Noco on it. We just put a lock cylinder in after spending way too long looking for it because it wasn't where we expected it to be. Because that's what happens in projects this long. And we're just going to start adding fuses and finding out what works. Alright, time for the first smoke test. Remember, with this, if there's no battery, we have to put it in override. Nothing's directly shorted, obviously, or this wouldn't have gone for it. That's why I like to test with the Noco. It's reverse protected and overload protected. But just kind of check around. Okay, I don't smell anything. Nothing seems out of place. Nothing weird going on. Alright, I'm going to go in and add a few fuses. Okay, Shop Dog's coming to check. We just put a whole bunch of fuses in. We did not put the fuel pump fuse in. Even without the computer, we were like, let's not risk that. Alright, let's start with something obvious. Let's get this out of the way. Let's open the door. Hey, there's lights. That's nice. There'll be more when we have the console in. And do note, I do have those all capped off. So don't worry about that. So, there. That worked. Okay. Alright. Let's look. What else can we test real quick? Well, let's find out if that lighter works. When's the last time you used one? It's been a while for me. Okay. Don't know if that's set or anything, or if I've got to have that on. Okay. Oh, yeah. That works. That sucker got good and hot. Okay. So we got power on the cigarette lighter circuit. That shouldn't come on. Nothing much should be working yet because we have the key off. Headlights should, though. And let me go see what we got. They're going to not be as bright as they could be. I mean, we got a lot of cabling going on. Okay, now I'm going to go hit the dimmer switch, because I actually don't know if that's in dim or high beam. That's high beam. That's dim. That's high. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, we're going to turn that off because that's pretty rough on the... Okay, so now we're going to turn the car on and start sniffing for fire. Ooh, stuff happened. We always like when stuff happens. So, yeah. Yeah, high beam. Low beam. And the high beam indicator went off. Apparently we don't have that adjusted yet. So, we know that works. That turned on. Yeah, clock's moved. Fan's blowing. Remember, there's only so many things here. Okay. Don't know, but I will look into that. I don't remember hearing that before, but, you know, everything's bolted together now, so I'll take a look, make sure nothing's rubbing on anything. Simple things like brake lights. Do they turn on?
Yep, they're on.
Yeah, but I'm curious about that high center mounted one. Oh.
You want me to push it?
Yeah, if you don't mind. No, we do not have high center mount, which means we don't have that wired correctly. Because there was two ways to wire that switch, or we don't have a good ground on that. We'll look into that. So that's on our list, the high center mount. I'm going to have to hook up a meter to test reverse lights. I'm not too worried about that right now. I'm assuming that turn signals are going to work. Okay. I can see that one. I can see that one. And I can see our indicator. I I can see that one. I can see that one. That's the beauty of the white. That looks good. Okay, and this aftermarket column has hazards, and they're not functioning, so that's on my list. All right, so that's, I've got to set all that up in the phone. I'm not going down that road today. This was more of a, well, let's see if any of this works. We are not keying over the starter right now. I'm just not real interested in watching all of that stuff jump. But, yeah, we've got something. And of course, hazards work better if you put their flasher in. Completely forgot to put that in when I was putting in fuses. So we've got that. So, got to find out what's going on with the high center mounted brake light. Not testing any fuel or ignition system stuff at this stage. Really don't want to get too far down into the Dakota. Yeah, basic stuff is working, so that makes me feel better. ShopDog says I don't smell any fire. And of course, if you actually plug the fuse in, there's a chance the parking lights will work. I just saw that I forgot that fuse. Just put it in. Let's go see. So, just got that on. Hey, look at that. Parking lights, I must have left it pulled out already. What do we got back here? Park light. License light, and park light. Nothing here. I thought that was supposed to work with the brake, but I'll have to trace that back. So, let me find something to put on the brake. This board should do it. You'd think ShopDog would do it for me, but he's just not on board. But I want to see the dual filaments do their thing. Is that enough? Hopefully. Yeah, let me get something. I'll be right back. Got a little helping hand. Let's check. Alright, so that one is on, and that one's on. Nothing in here. I just don't know what to... Yeah, brand new light bulbs with dust on them. That's awesome. They stank. Yeah, so we got that all wired in. We'll have to pull all that through and find out what's what. See if we actually have power down there. Give me a minute. Okay, so that is that blue wire from the brake switch. So we have it on that side. Now I'm not saying that we don't actually have a ground problem, but let's test the other side of that. Okay, so we definitely have a good ground and good power going up to it. So it's going to involve cutting some wires and pulling this thing through. You can see where they kind of poked it in. Let me get a light. Sorry about the noise. Yeah, so it looks like he protected it. So let's get it pulled down. Okay, so we've got all that open. Bummer. Alright, well, look deeper. Well, that's fun. Nothing wrong there. So it's somewhere between this connection and up here. I really don't want to pull that off, but I guess I don't have any choice. That's not going to happen tonight. Let's go stop the brake lights here. I don't remember if I tested that or not. If I did, apparently I didn't notice that it doesn't work because aftermarket garbage is garbage. Alright, I think we're going to wrap it. I don't know if you noticed, it's dark out. We spent a lot of time futzing around with that battery. Kind of spent a few hours extra on that. Real disappointed. Really had hoped that 40R was going to do it, but that just doesn't make me feel safe, and I'd rather drive around a little bit than risk arc welding the hood. ShopDog agrees, so we're going to call it a night. We can cross something off the list we just made, though. The no running lights. That was a fuse. So there, we crossed something off. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry this is so short. I thought we were going to go into a lot more detail about some handles, but I want to save those for another day. Welcome back to ShopDog-Garage. Got a hound out running because that's what he does. I know I said that this was the end of the video, but guess I lied. I don't know how long all that was, so I spent some time, and I actually took this with me. I spent some time at Napa, and we found this is our best compromise, the 34 series, and I'm gutted on the fact that 34R just isn't really an available thing, and the last thing I want to do is special order or find something somewhere that is impossible to replace. So we're gonna go with that. As you can see, that's quite a significant drop. You know, let me throw our chunk of lumber. So that's that much more space. So it should be fine. I'm not super happy about that terminal being on that side, but it is what it is. So at this point, we're going to throw that back in, set that in, and verify our clearances before we get too crazy here. Okay, the hound has abandoned me, so I'll show you where we're at. Apparently I'm boring. But we're starting to coalesce all these wires into one spot, and I want them all heat protected and nice and tidy. So we'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. We're getting pretty close here to putting the tray back in. So what we've got is multiple layers of thermal protection on everything. You know, right in here, because this is going to be an area where heat's going to want to stack. So what we did here is we brought the MSD and then the fan and the EFI up into a common harness, and even labeled the pairs for future repair. And these, let me set my light down, will now be what comes up here around the battery. So let's get that tray in and see what we think. Well, I'm not going to lie and say putting that in is easy. There's some wrangling and managing you got to do. But we have it in. And you see nothing's pinched, nothing's under stress. And remember, this is the lifting side of the motor. One of the things I was super worried about was that spring. Only watch this. Look which direction that spring goes. Oh, down. Okay, so we're coming in here. I've got the light on, just like before. I'm going to put you guys inside. Here, sorry, you're going to be a little tippy. Okay, hood's closed. Alright, that's the best we can see that. Let's get her open. See what the Play-Doh looks like. Okay. Now, let me grab my tape. Now remember, that battery is 1 inch taller. I want you to see why I got a little worried. See that Play-Doh? There's 3/4 squish there and 1 inch squish there. And I realize this can go down a little bit more. You know, it's not all the way down. But yeah, now we actually have a little clearance. Makes me feel just a little better. And that's where I'm leaving it. This is the actual end of this video. I've actually got other things to do tonight, but I couldn't live with myself if I didn't at least try this out. So now we've got that. I've started working some more sleeving for the battery cables. If you recall, we've got the negative off the block and the positive from the starter running around. And they've got heat sleeve on them as well. And some expando down below where it's cool. I haven't decided where I want to route it yet. If you look, you know, the control arms down there, not only is there sharp stuff like this bolt and, you know, those zerks, but that is a alignment point. So I think before I final route that, I'll pick the car up, take a look, see if there's anything better as far as routing goes. You know, nothing's unchangeable yet. I haven't cut anything down. So we'll go from there. And then the other thing to point out, I haven't grounded it yet, but this purple wire here, that's the fan ground. So when you look in on the fan bundle over here, that'll come straight from the battery, and it's going to ground that point. And that will provide, you know, all the, because fans are electrically very noisy, especially every time they start and stop. So we're going to let that current route away from the EFI and away from the ignition box, as well as the Dakota. So I think that's how that's going. Still got to mount horns, we all know it, but we're getting there. The electrical is getting there. Still don't know what to do about the high center mounted brake light. I think for now I'm going to make those connectors safe, because, you know, I've got them exposed, and deal with it later, because there's more important things to be working on. Oh, and I think I already mentioned that, of course, the parking lights was, you gotta put the fuse in. Silly. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.